There's a physical comfort inside the mountains. There's also a sense of community. This is a land where people work together to build, and that's part of what is great about this rural part of Appalachia.
You could say a river runs through it, but it'd be more accurate to say 6 rivers run through it. That's why they call this place the birthplace of rivers.
We are trying to designate the Birthplace of Rivers National Monument on the Monongahela National Forest. There are 6 spectacular rivers that begin right here on this very landscape. These are rivers that West Virginians know and love, like the Cranberry River and the Williams River, where people grew up. What all national monuments have in common is that they aim to provide strong statutory protections to the resources that have been identified as something so special on a national scale. They deserve that designation, they deserve that protection for future generations.
0.007%, a fraction of a percent of the world's water is directly available to humans for consumption. That's this water right here is that fraction of a percent. So it is this responsibility we have to make sure that this area is protected.
Communities depend on these rivers and the quality of these rivers, not just here on this landscape.
The headwaters in this region are so critical to water quality to all those who live downstream. I liken it to a newborn baby. Parents of a newborn are bestowed this responsibility upon them to care for and protect this very fragile, vulnerable being. And I think of headwaters that way.
The landscape up there is transplanted from really another time in history.
We talk about, being in the mountains, but then here in these little places that seem almost more tropical.
Yeah, I think the forests around this part of the Monongahela, this part of West Virginia, they sort of have this, historic or even prehistoric feel to them. Stuff that you don't normally see in other parts of West Virginia, so it's really kind of special environment.
One thing I didn't expect to find here was Canada. Well, not really Canada, but the Cranberry Glades is a unique ecosystem, a large bog not usually found this far south.
Not a lot of people associate cranberries with the mountains of West Virginia, but it's one of those northern species that's found its way here to this super unique biodiversity hotspot.
We're in such a remote part of the mid-Atlantic and eastern U.S. that any time that we can develop a sustainable tourism economy, I think it's a good long-term future.
A lot of tourists that come through here have come back to revisit it every day. Almost every day you have somebody come into this building who was here 30 years ago with their grandmother, or came here and spent summers here, or is bringing their kids back to see where they grew up and spend their summer. So this is a lot of people's history.
I want to make sure that my kids get a chance to experience exactly the same thing that I got to experience, and my great-great-great-great-grandchildren get to experience the same thing. This is where I grew up fishing. This is where thousands of people have grown up fishing. It's really the core trout fishing experience for all West Virginians.
Aside from protecting the landscape and sort of providing those natural resource-based protections that we want the monument to achieve, there's also this whole economic story to be told about the benefits of this landscape to local communities.
We're struggling, have been struggling historically. We have one of the lowest median incomes in the country. So to have a chance to diversify our economic base, to see our tourism industry grow in a way that honors the land and honors the water, it's a win-win situation.
Let's build on our strengths, and tourism, natural beauty, clean water, healthy forest. These are our strengths. These are things that other counties and other states around us don't have the abundance of.
And people look at this landscape and they know that it's already here and we already have this resource, and it's not something that we have to buy or invest a lot of money in. All we have to do is to say that yes, to decision makers that we want this area to be permanently preserved, to say that this landscape that's in our own backyards here is so special that it should be on the map.
It's about protecting our resources for future generations. Looking down the road, how clean will this water be in 50 years if we don't have federal protection?
I think the coalition that has been built around this initiative is really making decision makers pay attention.
Varying missions from different organizations that are kind of scattered and going different directions all the time, and everybody comes together on this common goal, and we all have something in common when it comes to something like this monument.
We share a common interest in water. We are drawn toward water because it brings peace to us. It enhances our quality of life. We just enjoy all of its uses. The birthplace of rivers is very important to us.
The government can, make this designation and say this is going to stay like this, and that's important to me.
It's very important, I think, that people are able to experience what this part of the country has to offer. To be able to drive on the scenic highway and look both ways and just see ridges of green and woods this time of year. To feel that expansiveness, I think people will find that the communities in this area also understand the value and want to share that, because this is something that should be shared.
If that's not a monument, I don't know what is.